Hey there. Good morning. It is 7:42 in the morning. It is Wednesday. Crazy to think that I assumed we would have that roof done by now, but not the case at all, and won't even be able to work on it today because rain is in the forecast and we've got this thing prepped for rain. And I am not even going out there and messing with this thing, even though the rain's not supposed to start till 11 o'clock. It's only a 30% chance of rain, but it's calling for rain all afternoon and evening. In a perfect world scenario, if I had a crew of 3 or 4 people, sure, we'd definitely go out there and get rocking and rolling on this thing, but nah. This, unfortunately, was a mistake. There was a comment that said, Joe, the best thing that you could do is not take on this job. And I got offended reading that. But now, looking at it in hindsight, as freaking sore and broken down as I am, boy, they were absolutely right. Now, we're going to get the job done. I'll make probably $0 freaking dollars off of this job, and hey, whatever. Definitely not even going to gripe about it because I put myself in this boat. It's just ironic to think that when you think of a bigger job like this roof is, in comparison to the work that we've been doing, like drywall repairs and some even on the larger side of the drywall repairs, and just any other little odds and ends that we've been doing. When you think of us doing a bigger job or doing a bigger job in general, you would think bigger money, bigger profit margins. But in this particular case, that is not the case at all. And in fact, what was supposed to be a bigger job with a bigger payday is in fact a nightmare job for 2 guys who are in way over their heads, and there will be no payday at the end of the rainbow. Saying all of that, I want to say there's a potential change order type of upcharge scenario that could come into play, that should come into play. Now, on one hand, it could look like I'm trying to do this because I'm not making any money and I need to try to figure out a way to make money. That is absolutely correct. However, also, this is very much a real deal thing, and it involves the fascia around the garage that absolutely needs to be replaced. 3/4 of this fascia needs to be replaced, needs to be metal wrapped. I mean, it's just rotted out. So the deal is I need to try to pitch this to the homeowner, who may or may not really be rocking with us. It's not been that great of a job. And in fact, we haven't shown anything in terms of how this thing is going to come out in the end. Maybe we have, but I still am confident in our ability to be able to turn over a quality product in the end. But that would entail that this fascia gets replaced. I bid the roof at $32.75 with all materials included, which in all actuality, everything was off, and that started with my measurements. And I missed an opportunity to really jack up the price on this thing, and that was from the jump. Doing the roof by itself, just tearing off the old shingles and just doing a new roof without the sheathing should have been that price. Then to tack on resheathing the entire roof, that's over $3,000 in itself. I can't emphasize enough that this should have been a $6,000 job, but that's not what I bid it at. I bid it at $32.75, and with that, for me to give them an additional cost on this fascia that comes in at You know, every bit of $1,000, if not more than that. I mean, like slightly more than that, maybe 12 or 1,500. If I was just doing the fascia job by itself, my quote would probably be like 15 to 1750. That's replacing the wood, metal wrapping the wood. But my number has to reflect what the actual cost of the roof is. So I can't give them a $1,500 quote when that's half of the price of the roof. But I should, and I think I'm going to. And it is what it is. And if they ask, hey, gee golly, why is this half of the cost of the roof? And I should be like, because you know why. You know, granted, I did this to myself, but at the same time, I can't help but feel like, you know, got to get taken advantage of right here. Like, man, did they get additional quotes on this thing? Because they had to have, and they have to know. Like, this is just... Anyways, I got to grab a coffee for my wife. And that's what I'm doing. Back at the house, you can see the flashing lights behind me. Fire department's back over at that house. And I just got some drone footage. There was a small little fire that had flared up in the back of the house, and it is surreal, truly unbelievable to see the devastation and carnage that that fire caused. And it's being reported, and I can't confirm nor deny this, but it's being reported that, you know, one of the sisters lost her life. Actually, I can confirm it. The news confirmed it. So one of the sisters did lose her life. She wasn't able to be rescued, and I believe that she was wheelchair bound. I didn't know these neighbors at all. They were very elderly and they kept to themselves, but I do believe that one of their relatives is actually my immediate next door neighbor. I saw her yesterday morning, and I just said, I'm so sorry, you know, to see what's happening. And I've seen people hugging her, and yeah, man, just a real unfortunate situation. So I captured this last little bit of drone footage just to show, you know, what it looks like today. And it's been so crazy watching so many people come down here just to see this thing. And, you know, I'm filled with a sense of mixed emotions in regards to that. Like, people are nosy, but in all actuality, I mean, this was a major catastrophic fire that took place in a very historical home in my neighborhood. You know, this house is over 150 years old. I believe it was built in 1818, somewhere around there. You know, my house is that damn old as well. And this house is the only house in my area that remained in the family for 5 generations. The only house that was the original owners, you know, family of the original owners who built the house. 5 generations wiped out overnight. So I've been thinking about this footage that I've captured, and I just got a chance to look at it this morning, editing a video. It's not even like the next video in sequence of what I filmed, but I think it's the video that I'm going to run with. And because it's just that important, and the other video is meaningless and mindless in comparison to this. And I titled this "The Tragedy That I Woke Up To." Now, because that's exactly what it was. But the drone footage that I've captured, I've got probably every bit of an hour's worth of footage where I've had that drone in the air. That little DJI Mini 3 has a hover time that is pretty remarkable, upwards of 40 minutes per battery. And I had 2 fully charged batteries yesterday morning, so I had that thing up in the air, I'm guaranteeing, for every bit of an hour, maybe even more than that. But I want to put together a video where I'm just essentially sharing the story of what it was like to wake up to all of that yesterday, and just to share my 2 cents on the situation, which is absolutely meaningless. But the bigger thing is I've got this footage, and maybe it would be helpful to, I don't know, a fire department to see this, and possibly in relation to like how this fire actually started. And I've actually got a theory on that, and I don't know the first damn thing about fire investigation, so I could be completely wrong about this. However, when I look back at the immediate initial footage that I have here, and mind you, this is probably, I don't know, 15 or 20 minutes after, maybe it's not even that long. It's pretty early in everything. It's pretty early in the grand scheme of the events unfolding. So it was around 6 o'clock when all the commotion really began. But by that point, the neighbor already knew there was a fire, and he had already called the fire department. 6 o'clock is when I noticed what's going on. And probably about 5 minutes later is when I noticed the smoke coming up. But still, I'm not seeing any flames. But the flames had to be evident from what he saw, or maybe he just saw the smoke. When I get the drone up in the air, you're talking probably 10 minutes later. The fire had been burning for. I don't even know if the fire department had water going on this thing at that point, because remember, I told you it took a while for the fire department to get water going. The point of all of this is this initial footage, when it begins, shows the fire concentrated on the 3rd story or the top floor of this place, and it looks like it's concentrated around one of the chimney stacks. The house had 4 chimney stacks, I believe, just like, well, my house has 2, but my house has 4 chimneys. My fireplaces you don't use my fireplaces. This is not, my fireplaces are not safe to be using. I believe that this was a chimney fire. That's what I believe. At first I was thinking maybe it was an electrical fire, and that was just guessing, but I believe that this was absolutely a chimney fire. That's where it looks like this fire began from. And here's another context clue to this whole thing. For the last couple of days prior to this fire, I remember going outside, going to work, or getting out first thing in the morning, whatever I was doing, taking my son to school. I could smell, a chimney burning, like somebody had been burning something. I didn't know where that was coming from, but it makes perfect sense that it was coming from that house. It is crazy to think that the fire potentially originated from a chimney, maybe in the room where the elderly woman slept at. Who's to know? And it's crazy to think just how quickly this thing spread and how out of control this thing became. I just know how it unfolded as I witnessed it. And I want to share that story. And it's not to poke speculation and blame, because I don't believe that even if the ladder truck got out here first thing yesterday morning when all the other fire trucks were out here, I don't believe that would have saved life. I don't believe that the life would have been saved. I believe that the life was lost pretty immediately. And I just hope that if that is the case, that person didn't suffer, and that, it was, they didn't suffer. But to be honest with you, I don't know why, but all I could think about was like what that had to be like for that elderly woman, potentially waking up to a room completely engulfed in flames, and just knowing immediately it's over. I think about like if I was in that situation, or anybody. So I want to share that story. I think that it's one that should be shared. I said yesterday I felt like I wish there was more that I could have done, but I don't think anything could have been done unless, somebody saw this situation unfolding even earlier than when the neighbor saw it. And nobody's to blame for this in terms of outsiders, anybody outside of the home. I think about this. I think about if I was jogging, like Jesus Joe, if you would have just woke up at 5 o'clock in the morning and went jogging, which I haven't done in 2 weeks at this point, would I have seen it? Would I have smelt it? You get all these questions, right? Like these shoulda, coulda, wouldas, but there's nothing that you could have done. So I feel like if there's nothing else that I can do, let me at least share an eyewitness account of how this thing unfolded, and maybe it helps the investigation. I don't know. Maybe it helps record this tragedy, because undoubtedly within the next week or two, that house will be gone. They'll be out here demoing that thing. It'll be gone. Anyway, so no work on the agenda for today. Joe's got to rest up, man. Joe is not doing good. We got rain in the forecast. I talked to Gene. I told him, hey, look, I ain't doing nothing. And I just want to work on some video stuff and try to recuperate, because I'm going to need to be at 110% for tomorrow. And I'm nowhere near that right now. I'm busted down, broken down. I'm just no good. And, you know, a lot of things in relation to all of that. I'm feeling a tinge of discomfort in my hernia mesh repair area. That's nice. My knees are aching. My legs are aching. My butt is aching. You know, we don't even got no cushions out there. We don't even got no freaking knee pads out there. We are straight raw dog in this roof, and it is whooping. It's whooping my ass, and I know it's whooping Gene's ass too. You know, we are ill prepared for this. So I need to try to at least get us some cushions out there. Good God, we got to have something to rest on. Anyways, I'm going to work on some video stuff, and who knows where today will take us. Hopefully somewhere that's chock full of freaking recovery, because that's the most important thing that I need right this second. Well, the first thing is it did start raining. So I guess that's good that we didn't end up going out to the roofing job. Now they're cleaning up these little retention pond things, or whatever, the biodegradable frickin' storm drains that don't do shit but flood. And then there's the house that burned down, and they've put a fence up around it. And it's actually raining pretty steadily out there. Meanwhile, I just got done doing a live stream from my kitchen, cleaning my kitchen. As a matter of fact, I needed to do that. And I'm hurting really bad from yesterday. Good God, I'm hurting so bad. I'm hoping that today I'm gonna be able to fully recuperate and be ready to go back out onto that job tomorrow, completely revitalized. So there's that. Starving too, surviving on black coffee. My wife got this for me. Can't wait for lunchtime. Don't know what's gonna be for lunch, but I'm gonna tell you like this, I'll sure be happy to eat it. So not sure what else I'm doing. I got some filming that I wanna do, but there's a lot of commotion going on out in front of my house, and the biggest thing that I wanna do is voice over this video of the fire from start to finish. Essentially, it's over an hour of footage. I'm not going to voice over all of that, but I do want to narrate and document my eyewitness account of how things unfolded, because I feel like that should be historically documented given the history of the home. That's about it right this second. Am I going to do another live stream? Maybe. So you had these people come and clean out these little things today, whatever these little ditches are. And they use the backpack blower, and well, what did they really do besides blow the shit all out in the street? And when it rains like it is right now, if it was to rain heavy, it would all come right back to the same ditch line that they used the backpack blower on. Hey, maybe it's job security. What do I know? After all. So, it's been a rainy day. Thankfully, the weather did what it was calling for, and it wasn't a wash otherwise, meaning that if it didn't rain, we would have been feeling like, gee golly, we should have been out there on that roofing job. But I think that this good day off is really going to be useful in terms of, well, trying to pick up the pieces and get back to it tomorrow. And what will tomorrow have in store for us? It's Thursday after all. Ain't no telling. I think by the end of tomorrow, we should have 2 more sides torn off and resheathed. Who knows? Maybe some kind of a way we can have the whole damn thing resheathed. Here's a crazy thing. Not sure if I shared this or not. Did I tell you that we need even still more material? Yeah, we need even more wood because we used 8 sheets of plywood on the first side and we only had 14 plus 5. So that left us with 6 plus 5. And it's going to be 8 on the other side when all we have is 11 left. So that's only going to leave us with 3. And we're going to need probably another 8. If we're lucky. Another 8 boards, you son of a gun. So I got to go lug that first thing tomorrow morning. Back to Lowe's. But you know what? All of that is tomorrow's problem. And for the remainder of the day, I'll just, well, stress out about getting this thing wrapped up. It sucks that any money that I thought I was going to make this week, you know, I've been averaging about $1,100, $1,200, $1,300 a week. This week will clearly not be that at all. And that's just shit. You know, it's shit to be out here working your ass off for literally nothing. But I did it to myself, so I can't be mad at nobody but myself. Hey, look, that's all I got. I filmed some videos. I enjoyed this day off. I live streamed like crazy today. I played video games. I just relaxed, or not even relaxed, just reset because I needed to do that today. Tomorrow, we'll worry about tomorrow then, and hopefully, like I said, we can get this whole son of a bitch resheathed tomorrow, and at least there's that. Leaving from Lowe's, and I'm already tired. Hell, I was tired before we even got to Lowe's. What am I talking about? All right, another 170 in materials. I got 8 more pieces of OSB and 4 2x4s for any reason. And 2 packs of $5 knee pads. You get what you pay for. I'm sure those things will be broken by lunchtime. But you know, to be out here 40 plus doing a roof with no knee pads and no cushion, diabolical. Forgive me for bringing that word out of retirement. Damn, my hernia already kind of irritated. Yeah, man, I'm mad about that too. Mad at myself for all of this. You know what's crazy is I think that I was always meant to just be a content creator. I don't think that I was really meant for this at all. As much as I wanted to be, I was a content creator who wanted to be a contractor, who should have just always been a content creator. You know, the perilous mistakes that we make in life. And we don't even realize it until it's too late sometimes. And gee golly whiz, guy, that's about the story of my life. But, hey, it's content after all. I wonder how all of this goes in the end. How does it go? Is the customer satisfied with the work that we do? Are they unsatisfied? Are they unsatisfied now? I just messaged the homeowner telling them that we would be there by 9 o'clock. Hopefully all is well. Yeah, I'm really curious how all of this plays out by the end. I can't see the end. That's the other issue to this too. There's no light at the end of the tunnel for this particular job. And that is really hard to understand. Nobody's fault but my own. Underbid, overpromised. I read a comment on a post, not my post, but just some post that I was reading. Somebody said you go with the lowest bid and get the highest excuses. Man, there's a lot of truth in that. And I'm not out here like underbidding, I'm not out here bidding low, thinking that I'm gonna undercut somebody. And that's the big issue with low bids, is in most cases, that's why the bids are low, because people just want the work so bad. I thought that I was actually giving a good quote. That's just how stupid I am. Oh well, let's get where we're going and pray that by the end of today, I can see some light at the end of the tunnel. 2:45 in the afternoon, and up on a roof, sitting in a hole by whatever the hell this is. So we're still sheathing. This side is sheathed, ready for shingles. This is the third side that we're doing. What are we going to do with this? Exposed wood. What do we do with that? We just, yeah. Add 3/4 to the angled side at the top. So we just sheathed the front side. That took us almost all day, going around and under that dormer and flashing and whatever the hell else is there. Was a pain in the ass, but today has been a lot smoother than the last couple of days. I've been on the roof all day. Gene has been cut man. So I've been doing the install, the construction, the building, whatever you call this shit. We're leaving little air holes for tools. Little air pockets for tools so the roof can breathe or some shit. I gotta be very careful because what I'm standing on, there's nothing right there. This side absolutely sucks. I'm not having fun over here. The front side wasn't too bad. There's our top right there. It goes all the way down. I would show you, but I can't. There's a tool that Joe has been using. Nail gun. Hey, remember when I said we were gonna hand bang this shit? Oh my God, we would have been some Amish for real. We still got shingles on the front side to remove. I've been removing them sporadically throughout the day, like during lunch. And because I had to break my fast and I feel like sticking my finger down my throat because of that, I was tearing off the front. But tomorrow we'll be shingling this son of a bitch. And then Saturday's an El Nino, some sort of a storm coming. So hopefully we can have this thing done tomorrow. Once we get into the shingling, Gene says that's his expertise. So hopefully it'll go relatively smooth. But nothing on this job has gone smooth. Been plenty of cause for upcharges. I really want to upcharge about another $3,000 on this damn thing. It's been a nightmare. You ever seen rafters? Look at this. Look at this. You got a rafter right here and a rafter right there. This is a 4-foot gap in between. Yeah, man. If you don't think that this thing is going to bow and flex, boy, oh, give it 3 years. She might. All right. Get this day wrapped up. It's been actually productive and relatively positive. And I'm not dying out here like on previous days. Hey there. Good afternoon. It is 5:22 in the afternoon. Wrapping it up for the day. Roofing job. Yeah. So today went about as good as I could have expected it to go. And as a matter of fact, it went exactly the way that I hoped that it would go. And we ended up getting 2 additional sides resheathed, which is crazy to think that that's all that we got done. Damn, that is not a lot, actually. We did battle with the dormer side. We got that done. And then we did the far side. The far side was hard to do because there was not a lot of ground space. There was a little chain link fence in our way. And it was steep. The whole damn roof is pretty steep, if you ask me. It certainly is not a comfortable roof to be on. For me. I don't really like roofs, but anyways, I'm up on the damn roof. And I was up on the roof all day today. I was the guy on the roof, and Gene was the ground guy. So we did the sheathing quite a bit different than the first day that we did the sheathing, where before what we did was we would just tear the whole damn thing off, and we were putting 4x8 sheets of plywood up there. And that's probably what we should have done today too. However, I decided to just take it off piece by piece and put it back. How we cut it off is how we put it back. And we ran across a lot of issues with rotted frickin' rafters and I don't know what you call it, ears, whatever they're called, the ends of the rafters. Hell, we've got one situation taking place underneath of the dormer where there's just this big dip in the roof. And I mean, we just went from rafter to rafter when we were nailing down. And I was thinking it was something that we did, but it couldn't have been because when it dipped down, it lined up with the rest of the roof after that. So how freaking crazy. We also had an incident out there today. Gene, oh my God, Gene spilled 5 gallons of paint in this lady's yard and then covered it up with a piece of OSB. I've still got a shitload of OSB in the back of my truck, 8 sheets. Way too much. Thank God I'll be able to take some of this shit back. I'll probably have a lot of extra drip edge as well too. But I tell you what I won't have a lot of, starter shingles. As a matter of fact, I'll probably need some more. But I know, well, I'm hoping I've got enough of everything else. So I really want there to be some additional charge. Oh my God, do I want there to be some additional charge on this job. And I've been taking pictures, you know, of the rotted stuff that we're running across, that we're having to dog ear. This is a brutal job. I mean, it really is. But I can see the finish line. Tomorrow we will be shingling. It only took us a week. Only took us a week to get to shingling a little 600 square foot roof. But a 600 square foot roof is I mean, it ain't a big roof by no stretch, but for somebody who doesn't really, what am I talking about? Somebody who doesn't really, for somebody who doesn't do roofing at all, which is me. Now, Gene still claiming that when it comes to these shingles, he's going to show me. And I was telling him, I was like, hey, look, you know, we're going to start on one side. This is how I think we should do it. We're going to start on one side of the roof. And then we'll start on one side of the roof, and then we're going to just work our way all the way around. If we start on one side, then we do the next side. That way all the shingles line up. And Gene's like, oh, no, we ain't got to do that. It doesn't matter. We'll be 1.5 inches over the drip edge and yada, yada. And I'm just like, man, I'm telling you, this whole roof is out of square, man. We need, I think we should do a circle jerk here. I really do. Ooh, that's a cool motorcycle you got, buddy. Oh, shit, that's a motorcycle. Hey, you hear that? That's a motorcycle. Hell yeah, that's a motorcycle. Neat. Wow. Neato. Oh, hey, there's a motorcycle right there. I'm not really a fan of motorcycle drivers. They think they're pilots. Kind of. Anyways, hey, look, I started today off very much unmotivated. You know, what is the homeowner thinking of our progress here and all of that? But the homeowner seems to be rocking with us, so that's promising. I'm not liking the rafter assignment in this build neither. The rafter layout, I should say. I was up on the roof earlier, and you know, the rafters on the side of the garage are 4 feet apart. Forget, you know, 12 or 16 inches. These son of a bitch are 2 feet even, which is too much. These son of a bitches are 4 feet apart. But it is what it is. Anyways, hey, look, today was better. Today was definitely better. And maybe tomorrow we'll get this roof done. Who knows? Anyways, I'm going to wrap it up for now, and I will look forward to sharing more with you guys tomorrow. Until then, take care.